Welcome back, guys. So firstly, I'd like to say thank you for Medan's first video that had over 300 views. I am really thankful for each and every one of you for viewing and watching Medan's video. Medan's also very thankful. He did put up 2 videos for you guys, telling him a little bit more about himself and so on. So we are really thankful, guys, that this thing is spreading awareness, and we thank each and every one of you. So welcome back. This is a new video, and if you are new, guys, please do subscribe. There's so many more videos to follow, and this story is so far from being over or being told. There's so much that I want to share with you guys, and we really do just want to make this more of an awareness. And we, meaning myself, Medan, and Marvin and Isabella, we really just want each and every one of you to understand our story so that you can tell it to the next person, or that the next person that this happens to will know at least a little bit more on what to do when this happens to them. So welcome back. If you are new, please do subscribe. If you've been here, thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and we cannot say thank you enough. So in today's video, I'll be talking about how this affected me as a mom, and I'll also be talking about how it affected Marvin, and also on Isabella, how Isabella felt about all this. So yes, if you are interested, stay tuned, get yourself a cup of coffee because it is cold, or get yourself something to drink, and let's get into this. Can we also just talk about how much weight I have gained in this pregnancy? Like here, this. It's horrible. So I am in my 3rd trimester now. I'm 28 weeks. I'll be 28 weeks tomorrow. So yeah, time is getting closer. I am happy, but we'll talk about it in another video. Okay, so how this affected me as a mother. Okay, so firstly, there's a few things actually I want to say. I think in the first video I spoke about Medan being diagnosed as a cancer patient, Medan having a brain tumor, Medan having epilepsy. Okay, so this is I think there's a lot of questions that you guys also have. So I think in the comment sections, leave your questions. In the next video, I'll answer all that questions. But what I can say now is epilepsy and the brain tumor. Okay, so firstly, Medan has seizures due to the brain tumor being there. So the brain tumor suppressed his brain, and this is what caused him to seize. Okay, so that is where his epilepsy comes from, is the brain tumor. If it was not for the brain tumor, he would not have had these seizures. Also because of the fact that this thing has been there so long and no one picked it up. That's what also started triggering the seizures, because now obviously it's been causing damage. Medan is now 1 year and 3-4 months that he's not had a seizure, which is good because obviously they removed the brain tumor. He actually went last week for his checkups and things, and we got our MRI results back, but we'll also talk about that in another video. So today's video will mainly focus on us as a family, how we felt. Isabella was still small. I was actually still pregnant with Isabella when all this started. I was 30 weeks pregnant when Medan started having seizures, which was horrible because here we are excited to have a new addition to our family, and here Medan is going through the most. So as I've mentioned, Medan was 3 years old when all this started, and I think it was the worst day of his life. It was on the 28th of Actually, it was leap year that year. So it was on, I think it was on the 29th of February. Guys, I think it was 2014, if I'm not mistaken. But it wasn't a leap year. I'll never forget it was a leap year that it happened. And that is when everything went south. Medan was not born with this disease. But I personally, as a parent, think that he was. He was born with this tumor, but they just never picked it up. And because of the fact that it's slow growing, eventually after three years it started making damage. So I do think he was born with it, but I'm not a doctor, so I cannot confirm this to you guys. But that is what I feel as a parent. Okay. So his seizures was not as severe in the beginning. So he would have so he had the one on the 29th of Feb. The next one he had was the following month on the 29th of March. And going on, that's when it started becoming more. So when his seizures just started, it was long. So it was 4 minutes long seizures. And as time went on, it started being shorter seizures, but more. So he would have like one seizure in 1 month for 4 minutes. And as time went on, and I think this thing progressed, he started having 4 or 5 seizures a day. So I am drinking grape tizer. Wishing it was wine. No, it's not. So it's grape tizer. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a background that I'm not sure that I've touched or said anything about in the first video. Okay, so Medan's brain tumor is called Pilocytic Astrocytoma. Gosh, it's such a long word, guys. I can't pronounce it. I'll leave it down below, and then you guys can Google and see. It's very long. It is a slow-growing tumor, and it is a grade 1 tumor. Okay. So, as parents, I think at that time, we were scared. We were really scared, and because we've never been through this, both of us has never experienced anything like this. It was scary. So the first time it happened, we were not present. He was at school when it happened. The second time it happened, it was at night, 8:30. We were just getting ready for bed, and then Medan had the seizure. And let me tell you, myself and Marvin, we ran like headless chickens in that house because we did not know what to do. We honestly did not know what to do. And I think the stupid part about all this is that we were running around, but none of us was actually staying there with the child to see what's happening. So the first time I can say that I can remember in depth what we did, because I know that it all happened so fast and you are so scared and you don't know what to do, that you literally, you go blank. You go blank and you do not know what to do. That night when we got to the hospital, I spoke to the nurse and I was like, so this thing called epilepsy, what do I do? What do I do when my child is having a seizure? And she's like, you know what, it's going to sound like, I do not know what I'm talking about, but there's literally nothing that you can do. And I looked at her and I still remember saying to her, you're right, that does not make sense. How can you tell me that there's nothing to do while my child's laying there suffering? She's like, there's really nothing you can do besides make him comfortable, put him on his side, and wait for this thing to pass. And I was thinking, if you are telling me that I need to wait for this thing to pass, I'm going to sit there waiting. It's going to be like me waiting for paint to dry. I cannot sit around and wait for this thing to just pass. So I'm like, so how long do I wait? Because I mean, according to my knowledge, this thing does not happen the same amount of minutes every time. She's like, no, each seizure is different, and once it goes past 5 minutes, then you know that you need to phone the ambulance and you need to bring him in, because then it's severe. But once it's under 5 minutes, all you can do is wait. So now if you can sit down and think for yourself, you're waiting 4 minutes, let's say 4 minutes for this thing to pass. What damage is this thing causing to your child's brain? Because obviously you need to know, once you have a seizure, you are not receiving oxygen going to your brain. And I mean, what damage is this doing to your brain cells? Medan is 3 years old at the time, or at that time he was 3 years old. His brain is still developing, and here he's having something else damaging his brain, and you are here as a parent waiting. And I think that part alone scared me, because I did not know how long I would have to wait. How many years will I have to wait till my child stops breathing? You know, that was what was going through my mind, is how long am I going to sit around and wait till the one day my child just stops breathing? And I can tell you, it was horrible, and there were times where I felt like, I think even Marvin himself, because he said it a few times, was like, why should this happen to him? Could this not just have been something that the Lord gave to me? You know, you feel as a parent like, let's take this pain away. Lord, take it away and give it to me. But unfortunately it happened. Okay, it happened, and we had to deal with it, and we did not know how. So if you can ask me now today, how did I feel as a parent? I will tell you, I don't know. I don't know how I felt, because I did not know what to expect, and I did not know what to think, and I did not know what this thing will turn into. I think as time went on, I started being more aware of this thing, because obviously now I started doing research, I started talking to people, and that is when I myself had more of an awareness. Now here I am 8 years later, okay, or 7 years later. It is removed now. He's not having seizures. It's been 1 year and 3 months now that he's been seizure free. But now, in the present time, thinking back on the last few years of what my child had to go through, I feel like this thing is more traumatizing now than it was then, because I feel it more now. Like, I can sit back and think, and I just think to myself, like, how the hell in my right mind did I get through all this? Because this thing was such a traumatic experience. It was such a traumatic experience, and I don't know, I do not know how, you know, I'm speechless, guys. I'm actually speechless. So then you get his little sister. She was 3 years old when Medan still had seizures, and sorry guys, I think to her it was just as bad, shame, because here they are playing, and then the next minute Medan is having a seizure and she does not know what to do. So Isabella was so aware eventually of Medan's seizures that she knew what to do. Okay, so she would see how we would handle Medan when it happened, and she started doing the same thing. So there was one day where they were in the toilet, into the bathroom, and Medan went with, and he was sitting behind the door and she was on the seat, and Medan started having a seizure. So immediately she got off the toilet seat, she sat down on the floor, putting Medan's head on her lap, turning Medan on his side and calling. So Isabella was so smart eventually, and that she knew how to handle this thing, you know. And I would not say that this thing did not affect her, because it affected her. because the minute Medan was out of his seizure sleeping, she would be quiet. She would sit down and she'd be quiet for a while before going on playing or doing whatever she was doing. So it did affect her. I remember a few weeks back, she asked me, which was really out of the blue because we were on our way to school, and she was like, I wanted to know. And I was like, yes. Is it just boys that can have seizures? So I was like, no, it's not just boys. It's boys and girls, and it can happen to anyone, even to me or to you. And she was like, and the medication, why is he drinking medicine every day? Why can't I drink medicine every day? You know, the type of question she has now, she's now 5 years old, is it reasonable questions, you know? So yeah, it did affect her as well, but I think it also, as a family, it made us stronger because we eventually knew what to do, okay? We knew what to do, and if we were at an event or in a party, we were alert. So myself was alert, Marvin was alert, whoever was with us was alert. But guys, let me tell you, it's not something that you get used to. You do not get used to this thing, because every seizure or every episode or whatever you want to call it, it's not the same. Some of them look so painful. Some of them looks like my child's not even there anymore. You know, it's just not, it's not a nice thing. So in epilepsy, you get a thing where they tell you that there's a trigger effect. So in Medan's case, because he was so small, we did not know what triggered his seizures because he could not tell us. Only once Medan reached the age of 5.5, he started telling us that he has a headache, and then a few minutes after he would have a seizure, or he has a stomach pain, and then a few minutes afterward he would have a seizure. So as time went on, we only then knew what was triggering Medan's seizures. Medan also did not have the same type of seizures every time. So some of them was where he would zone out, and some of them were literally where he would then lay down and seize and his whole body was shaking or moving or whatever the case may be that he's doing. So yeah, and now you can think to yourself, for a 5-year-old, I mean, if you think about it now, sometimes you get so angry and frustrated that you yourself do not know how to deal with your feelings. So now if you think of a 5-year-old not even knowing what emotions is at that point or how to deal with emotions, how he must be feeling. Medan was so frustrated with himself, he was so frustrated with his seizures that he was not the nicest boy to be around. He was always irritable, he was tired. You know, he was going through the most. His body was going through the most because obviously after every seizure, it hurts. His body hurts and he's tired and he's not feeling well. So it was a lot that he had to go through. It was a lot that we had to deal with, because now we had to deal with all these emotions of his. We had to deal with the frustration, and it wasn't a nice thing. It was really not a nice thing. But I think if you are aware of the signs and if you know what to expect before this happens, then you would know how to deal better with this. So that is why I'm telling this story, because I want you to just understand that if this is happening to you right now, that it really does feel like it's the end of the world, but it's not. There are people out there that can help. There are really good doctors out there that can help. I just want to encourage you today to never give up. Never give up on a family member, never give up on your child, never give up on your spouse, whoever it is that is having these seizures or this epilepsy. Do not give up. Okay, there are doctors out there that can help you. There's medication out there that can help you. You just need to find the right resources to do it. Continue looking, ask around, guys, do your research, but do not give up. We did not give up on Medan, and here he is today. He's doing well and everything is good. We're praying every day that this thing does not come back, you know. this tumor does not grow back, or that this thing does not come back. But there is the right people out there to help you guys. So like I've said in the video, in the beginning of this video, if you have any questions regarding anything that I'm talking about, please do ask, because in my next video I will be covering that. So I'll be talking about Medan's doctor's appointment, and then I will be talking about all the questions you guys have. I'll be answering all of that in my next video. So thank you so much, guys. Please do subscribe, because there's so much more to come. Please also do share this video for the next person to see. Let's grow this awareness, and let's make people more aware of epilepsy. Thank you so much. Bye.